On this episode of the NeoMarketing podcast, I'm going to destroy the definition of ROI. Welcome to the weekly NeoMarketing podcast, featuring one half of the Golden Goose C-Suite, Kyle Golding, and Pritch Pritchard, APR, PRSA Fellow.
Kyle, how are you today?
I'm fantastic, Pritch.
Feeling feisty, making some bold statements here, buddy.
I'm fired up. So last week, after we were recording our podcast, I mentioned this term that I wanted to replace ROI with this term.
Heresy.
Right. Everyone knows ROI. It's probably one of the oldest terms in business, right? Return on investment.
Right.
It's how you make money, or how you judge.
Or how you judge whether you're making money.
So I think the term ROI is completely antiquated. I think it's out of date. I think it is not useful anymore.
Amen.
So
preach it.
Here it is. Stop using the term ROI. Instead, it is ROIA, the reality of it all.
Sweet.
It's a better definition and measurement of if your marketing is working, because it's not, we say this all the time, right? Marketing is not an A to B transaction.
Right.
I make an ad about a widget, you buy the widget. That's not marketing.
Right.
It's not reality, that's for sure, right?
Right.
And instead, we are creating marketing campaigns, we're creating advertising, PR, communications, promotion, etc., right?
Relationships.
Right. We're creating relationships with our customers or clients. We're developing thought processes and attitudes. And then we're, at some point, getting into conversion and we're selling our widget.
Right.
So the ROI on a lot of those steps is very muddy as far as a traditional ROI.
Well, if you can even measure it sometimes.
Exactly. How much money am I spending today to sell my widgets is not a conversation you can have anymore, because it's not about how many widgets do you sell today, but creating the atmosphere, the environment, the ability to have a relationship with the audience willing to buy the widget.
Right. And longer term, not just short term.
Exactly.
We've talked about that quite a bit.
Which is why you can't say that today, this week, this month, how much money did we spend versus how many widgets did we sell.
Right.
Especially, even more so, now thanks to technology and business model changes, there's a lot of startups, a lot of pivots, a lot of people are going into business, changing the way they do business, to changing the way they deliver. And the idea of, can you measure what you made off of this today or this week, is unfathomable. It just can't happen.
Right.
But in the past, you would say, well, then you shouldn't do it, right? You're losing money, you're bad, you're upside down on your ROI, which is not, that's the failure, because you're putting the cart before the horse.
Right.
So instead of trying to make ROI a mathematical equation, if you will, but you can't also go willy-nilly. You can't just spend money and do things and just randomly do stuff, right?
Right. You have to figure out what kind of effectiveness you've got.
You have to understand the reality of it all. You have to come back to a big picture thought process for your marketing, your advertising, your PR, all your communications, and how does it all go into the reality of creating these situations that can become conversions, that becomes economic value.
Okay.
It's a long, long, long way of evaluating the return on your investment.
Right.
But if you don't do it, you'll never get any return on your investment. And whatever money and time you spend, because ROI isn't just money, it's effort, time, attention, etc., it will be for moot anyways.
Right.
So, again, don't think of ROI in what is my return on my investment today, dollars and cents, how many nickels did I make for every dime I spent, or vice versa. But what is the reality? Are we moving ourselves forward into a situation that has the high likely potential for conversion and then economic value?
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree. I think that ROI needs to go to the wayside. It's for the operational people in manufacturing. It made a lot of sense. It's costing us X number of dollars to produce this widget. We sell it for X number of dollars. What's our return on the investment? But you can't do that in these fields.
Business models are just not that simple anymore.
Right.
You're not,
and the world's not that simple anymore.
You're not buying raw materials, forming it into a widget, putting it on a truck, driving it across town to a store where they put it on a shelf, they sell it, bump.
Right.
That happens, but there's so many other things that happen in the world now. Phone apps and software as a solution platforms and virtual reality and all kinds of things that you just can't apply that model to.
Right.
So you can't apply the traditional ROI. For every dollar you spend, you need to see X in income. And all this relationship. So, but like I said, you can't go willy-nilly. So you have to gauge the reality of where you are in the process and how well it's working, because every bit of marketing is designed to be adapted as it moves forward, and you get input from the most likely audience.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to throw you a curve because we haven't talked about this, but for the folks out there in our listening audience, how do you report the reality of it all to upper management?
It takes analysis and some input from someone with some experience, and it's because it's not purely a math issue, but it is still a little bit of a math issue, because at the end of the day, you got to make profitability, or you're not going to have a business for long.
You got to point to how your efforts help the business objectives.
Yes, exactly. There's also things you can measure, like favorability ratings, approval ratings, how many clicks you're getting, how many phone calls you're getting. It's not just yeses for the sales team,
right?
But how much traffic you're creating, how many people are showing up at your events, all kinds of measurables that are small and typically aren't attributed to sales.
Right.
If you look at those and you're trending in the right direction, then you're making the right moves and your likelihood of conversion becomes higher. If you ignore all of those things, then you're going in the wrong direction.
Right.
So it's not pure math, but it's also not ignoring math.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think we should have some more conversation on this particular point.
I think that would be good. I'm really interested. I'm interested to see what the feedback from our audience is. If people think I'm crazy, if they think I'm out of my line, or if they think this is long overdue, and like you said, we'll stow ROI on the trash heap of history.
Absolutely.
Well, I've just done that. I've thrown the gauntlet down.
Yes.
So folks, let us know.
Respond.
Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you want to hear more about it? Do you want to give us some feedback? We'll have that discussion on the next NeoMarketing podcast. Until then, good luck.
Ciao.